Hello, I'm David Chaston with 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This week, get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock. With news, most economies continue to struggle with economic responses to sharp drops in consumer demand. In the US, mortgage applications are rising sharply, but mortgage approvals aren't, as banks get very wary about borrower risk. American producer prices fell by 1.3% in April from March, the most in more than a decade, and the largest year-on-year decline in almost 5 years. Depressed demand is creating deflationary conditions, ones that might last for a while yet, and unusually these pressures apply to both goods and services. And in a widely watched speech today, the Fed chairman said Congress and the White House will need to spend much more to push back on the coronavirus-induced economic contraction. Wall Street turned glum, mainly because he didn't embrace negative interest rates. And it's not as though the Fed isn't pulling its weight, but huge financial market injections are not going to be enough on their own. And the Japanese government has decided to inject cash directly into large and mid-sized companies that are struggling in the face of the pandemic, adding to low-interest loans and subsidies already in place. The battle to save the commercial sector is getting desperate there now. In Australia, there was a surprising bounce in consumer sentiment in the latest Westpac Melbourne Institute survey, but the level is still very negative. And the uncertainty is also revealed in bank scenarios where CBA says that house price declines of up to a third by the end of next year are one possibility. On Wall Street, markets have taken fright today, with the S&P down 2.2% so far. Overnight, Europe fell harder. Yesterday, key Asian markets were flat, while the ASX ended up marginally and the NZX 50 was down marginally. And the US Treasury 10-year yield is lower at just on 0.65% in a 3 basis point repeat retreat. Gold is firmer again today, up another $10 to $1,711 an ounce. And oil prices are slightly lower today. US crude price is down by 50 cents to just on $25 a barrel. The international oil price is slightly lower and just over $29 a barrel. OPEC has slashed its forecast for global oil demand. And the Kiwi dollar is also weaker this morning, down almost a cent to just under 60 US cents. The weakness is across the board. On the cross rates, we're down a full 1 cent to 92.9 Australian cents, and against the euro, we're down more than half a cent to 55.4 euro cents. These overall drops mean the trade-weighted index is now at 66, which in turn means the RBNZ actions yesterday devalued the Kiwi dollar by 1.5% in a day, and is now down more than 8% since the start of the year. I'm David Chaston. That was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.